Hi, everybody. How are you doing? It's so nice to see all of you. Happy Wednesday. I think we're definitely going to be talking about the 3 a.m. drops because, as you can see, I stayed up to do the coverage because Disney sent the screeners out like right before I was going to get some rest. And I was like, oh man, how can I go to sleep knowing that I could, get my episode up faster on my breakdown? So it created, but as you can see, it really messes up my Wednesday. So I think that I'm going to, maybe like every once in a while, I might get the things up faster. But for the most part, these 3 a.m. drops, my breakdowns are going to have to go up by noon. I think I can do that. I think that's reasonable. A number of you have asked me about why I didn't react to the Peter Pan and Wendy trailer. Disney blocked those reactions, although I did see a workaround that some people used, which I'll be able to use in the future. But I tried re-editing and doing different things for that trailer, honestly, 6 or 7 times, and I couldn't do it. So it was really frustrating. So I apologize about that, but again, I saw a workaround that I think will work going forward. I mean, it makes it almost impossible for you to see the trailer in the video, but that's, of course, the whole point. All right, so nice to see so many people. Thank you for joining me. Let me just give a couple of quick shout-outs to people who just joined. Hold on, wait a minute. Wes Hart, welcome back. Let's see here. Clint Black, welcome back. Let's see, I'm catching up. Rob, welcome back. Jerome, thank you for gifting a membership. I saw you did that the other day as well. Hey, Danny, I just want to note you have a lot of Daniel followers. That's right. Hey, all the Daniels, I love it. Hey, Chris Hampton, welcome back. Blix gifted 5 memberships. That's very kind of you. And then Tari, we'll talk a little bit about the release schedule for sure. I can see where you're coming from, but I don't think that's correct. Let's see here. Okay. All right, everybody. Desert Knight says, it's crazy that I'm in America instead of Dubai and joining a stream on Well, welcome to America. I hope you're having a good time, although Dubai is pretty awesome. Every time it comes across on my Apple screensaver, I'm like, what an amazing place. I always feel like it couldn't be real. It's so beautiful. I'm like, is that fictional? Is that a computer city? And they're like, no, it really exists. It's a beautiful place. And I'm always really impressed. Hey, Steven. Hank O'Neill, thanks for joining. And the Foreign Fool gifted 5 memberships. You ain't no fool. You're generous. David Radin, thank you for joining. Soda Popinski. That's great. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining. Once again, please try to keep, when we start, your comments to the subject at hand, or I might not be able to answer it, even if it's a super chat. And I don't want you to be frustrated. So if you have something to say that's not about what we're discussing, please hold it for the end of the live stream when we do the Q&A. Also, I wanted to say, some of you asked me why I wasn't talking about Sam Levinson, who's been trending for hours thanks to a Rolling Stone expose. I can't really discuss that story on YouTube because it's too adult, which is the whole reason it's a story. But I will say that it was pretty crazy to have that happen right after we talked about Zendaya getting $1 million an episode for Euphoria Season 3. And now it doesn't look like Euphoria Season... Well, we'll see what happens to Euphoria Season 3. But this is so bad, Sam Levinson might get canceled. It's particularly bad, not only because it's just bad, but also I think it's particularly offensive to the people who like Euphoria. So I think one of the worst quotes I saw in the article was someone who worked on the show, this other show, The Idol, saying, I don't even think I could watch Euphoria now because I'm just so upset about what happened on The Idol. That's right. This is really bad for The Weeknd, too, who apparently also has these weird ideas. Hey, Popcorn Roulette, thanks for joining. So if you want to see what happened, I can't discuss it here on the YouTubes. So go over to the Rolling Stone expose and prepare. It's very long. You might have to skim parts of it, but be prepared to be really appalled. It's so bad. All right, okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to The Weeknd. This is real bad. All right, so but he's not trending. He's like, whoo. Thank goodness that Sam Levinson is trending and not him, right? But I don't think he's gonna get away with it either. It's just really bad. All right, so that's the first story of the day. Oh, that's not even the first story of the day. That was a bonus. All right, let's get started. All right, hold on. Let me boop it. Let me boop us in. Hey, Queen Elizabeth supporters. Now, thank you for joining. Let's see here. All right, now, starting now, keep your comments on point, or I might not answer them until later. All right, hold on. Boop. Okay, so The Mandalorian dropped at 3 a.m. this morning, as per usual for Disney Plus. And I gotta tell you, there was one thing that everybody in the media community was talking about, and that was the distinct lack of interest. Holy poop. It was amazing. We were all like, what happened to this audience? I wouldn't have stayed up till 3 a.m. I went to sleep actually at 6 a.m. I would not have done that if I had known there would be so little interest in the show. I am curious to see what happens when episode 2 drops, because episode 2 is a lot better. So maybe that'll help, but it was really surprising. We were all really surprised. I had a number of messages with people I talked to today, and even people I don't reaching out to me being like, what happened to the audience? And we're all like, holy poop. So these are some theories that we had. One is that maybe Obi-Wan and Book of Boba Fett really has degraded the Star Wars audience. Like Mando is performing like the Bad Batch, like only to Star Wars superfans, which is really bad. Although some of you, like Ross, are pointing out that they didn't really advertise the show. And I think because they were a little bit nervous about some of the problems behind the scenes. Like you might have seen that, Ford and Fool, you gifted another 5 memberships. You're crazy generous. I love it. But I don't know if you saw that crazy interview in the Hollywood Reporter where they kept saying, like, how do you feel about Gina Carano not being on the show anymore? And they kept just saying, Cara Dune's a great character. Isn't she a great character? She's off doing something else. Oh, it's exciting. We can't have every character on the show. What do you want from us? And you were like, why didn't you just say, don't ask any questions about Cara Dune before this interview started? Because I don't think that helped. So that was kind of weird. So I think that's maybe, I thought, one of the reasons they might not have promoted it as much. I mean, it's a very strong show. I even liked episode 1. I thought episode 2 is even better. And to be honest, if they dropped 1 and 2 the same day, I think a lot more people would be tweeting about The Mandalorian right now. But it's also a disturbing trend for Disney overall. Quantumania, they sucked all the air out of the room on that. It might have partially been, let me do a poll about the Mando, about you guys watching. Hold on. It is very early days, Aaliyah. I mean, it's early in the same day. So when are you watching Mando Season 3, Episode 1? Hold on. Let me write this down. I already watched it. And we'll do tonight. And then we'll do later this week. We'll just do later. We'll do later this week. I can't do 5 options. So if you're binging it, I don't know what to say. Just vote in later this week. And then the final one will be, I'm not watching. All right, there you go. You can vote on that while we discuss. So anyway, Quantumania. A lot of the air was taken out of the room on that movie, partially because it wasn't great, partially because Marvel intentionally decided to change the subject matter. Although the only person still talking about it is Jeff Loveness, being like, hey man, you guys made me sad with your there's no crying in Hollywood. Like, what do you want from us? Like, your script wasn't good, but since you're sad, we're gonna tell you it was great. I mean, I thought that was a weird tactic to take, to go the pity route. I thought that was weird. Caleb says, it sounds silly, but February only has 28 days, made me not realize it was coming out so soon. Oh, that's funny. You're like, I have a couple more days left. CH, I think you guys should watch The Mandalorian weekly, because you're going to want to see next week's episode when it drops. It was just so cool. It has horror elements in it. I couldn't believe how cool it was. I was like, wow. I mean, that's what people want. And so it's disappointing that you have to wait a week to understand that the show is giving it to you. Hey, Ross McCartan. So, because on that note, I feel like Disney is kind of not delivering the quality and sophistication that HBO and Netflix shows deliver. So I think that's kind of an issue. I think people are getting spoiled by how strong the HBO and Netflix content is, and then the Disney stuff comes in, and they're like, everyone's like, this is for kids, what? And also, I think on that note, the less than 1 hour episodes, especially with a weekly instead of a binge, people are like, because Netflix has some series that are half hour, but and The Bear on Hulu was half hour, but you can burn through that pretty fast. Oh, thank you for gifting a membership, Juan. Hey, Ross. So I think that's an issue. Then also, I think Disney is involved in a lot of politics right now. I'm seeing a lot of conservatives in particular actively rooting against the company. I mean, it's a real mess. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day in the industry, and she said, I think that Disney didn't even try to fight to preserve Reedy Creek because they just wanted this over with because they don't enjoy being in the middle of a political storm. And I would say to that, that's true. I think it's really hurt them. So I think that's also problematic. They need to get out of that political situation ASAP. But at the same time, it's complex for them because they can't abandon their employees and fans. So it's a tough situation. 3 a.m. drops. I think the 3 a.m. drops are a mistake. They started during the pandemic when everybody was, most people were at home and had nothing to do. So they could stay up and watch a 3 a.m. show or watch it right away. But now people are back in the real world. They have lives and they can't watch a show at that time. So I think that, let's see, interest in Mandalorian could pick up significantly this evening. I just think it was they served their purpose, but if I were Disney, I would abandon the 3 a.m. drops. I think it's not working for them. Now, some of you said, but what about overseas? Well, I think that for better or worse, just like with the box office, the American market drives the conversation. That's where most of the press is located, et cetera, et cetera. So, is Mandalorian trending in your countries? Because, it certainly isn't trending. Well, they paid to be at the top of the trend, like any company would today. But there wasn't anything in Mandalorian to trend, even though it was a very enjoyable episode. Heather says, I think that Disney is rushing content too quickly. Well, they certainly are working on that. Yeah, it comes out at 8 a.m. in the UK, but that's also ridiculously early. Who's going to watch that? You guys, a lot of people are on their way to school or on their way to work. I think that's also very difficult. It will be okay, says, do you think writers will be held more accountable? We're waiting for it. They certainly should be. It's ridiculous not to have the writers be held accountable. But let's see if Disney ever figures that out. Do you think that we should have good scripts? I don't know. That seems like a crazy idea, Bob. Those are expensive. Danny says, but Grace, I discovered you at 3 a.m. drops. I appreciate that, but I think we're having a lot more fun being able to do live streams, and the 3 a.m. drops throw me off to such a degree that I can't get anything done. So remember that we hardly ever had live streams, and so it's just not effective, I'm afraid. Joe said, making Boba Fett Mando 2.5 made me not want to watch. Oh, that's too bad. I'm telling you, you guys are going to change your mind when you see next week's episode because it's really good. You're going to be like, oh, I can't stay mad at you, Mando. Or maybe you can. If you can, that's going to be scary. And I think Dory has a good point that the market is very saturated as well. Although not right now. There's nothing happening right now. I mean, it's going to get super crazy in just a couple of weeks, but I don't think we're quite there. Raphael, I agree that supporting basic rights shouldn't be political, but here we are. And Heather says, will this script issue for Hollywood impact the Writers Guild negotiations? Oh, well, that's an interesting question. Sidebar, if you don't know, the Writers Guild is about to have negotiations. And one of the sticking points, in fact, I was going to maybe cover it today, but I felt it was too inside baseball, even for us. I thought these stories were better. But the Writers Guild, for instance, one of the things they want is more transparency as to the viewership numbers. And, streaming's like over my dead body. So we'll see what they decide to do. Alan says, Disney should take a page from Universal and expand into a different state. That way they're, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Disney does that. Hey, Jay, Schrumpelsilskin. And the Foreign Fool says the 3 a.m. drop time works here in Australia. It's 8 p.m. for us. That's perfect. That's great. And CH says brand recognition. Anything on Disney Plus is for younger audiences, families, and HBO Netflix is for adults, edgier content. Maybe we're all getting edgier. Maybe we're all getting edgier. Blick says, here it drops at 5 a.m. As a college student, I can't do that. Yeah, maybe a lot of people are going to watch Mando tonight. Let's see what the poll says before we continue our conversation. Hold on. Here it comes. A lot. I'm not watching was 37%. And I feel like, are you genuinely not watching because you don't like the show, or are you upset with Disney? But I mean, that's not great. So 37% aren't watching, which means about 60% are. 29% of you already watched it. Oh, this is bad. And then 17% are going to watch it later this week, so you're not even going to watch it today. Although I have to say, like some shows, I do that too. I wait till I compare them with something else so I can have an evening. I also save $1 Million Listing Los Angeles to treat myself on Sundays. Oh, I love that show. And then 15% of you are watching it tonight. Check out my breakdown afterwards. Let's see. Hey, Andrew. So, all right, let's talk about the other streaming services. So, HBO stuck to their guns with their release model. AJ Jones says, would you ever consider an evening BTT watch-along? Well, I did that for the season finale of House of the Dragon because they didn't give us the episode in advance, and we had a real good time. I would only do it if the show is dropping at that time, because otherwise, it's impossible for us all to line up. It's not a big enough audience for us to do it. All right, so anyway... Also, for the most part, if I can, I try to watch the episode before you so that I can have the breakdown ready for you. So that's kind of like the way it works. All right, so let's see here. So HBO stuck to their guns. For a while there, it was like, oh, HBO's so old school. Zeke said, I only found out about Mando because you had your breakdown. Yeah, they did not advertise it. Jason says, not watching due to lack of interest in Star Wars. Oh, that's too bad. I'm telling you, episode 2 is really good. All right, so I think the weekly Sunday at 9 p.m. is a great night time. I think HBO has the best release model. And they also are taking over Mondays as well, as you know. So Sunday and Monday, that's great because they don't have to compete really with movies. It's just fantastic. The next Marvel show, Mandela Butterfly, is a Secret Invasion, I think, in May. I hear we're getting a trailer sometime in March or early April. But that's the next. They're only going to have 2 Marvel shows this year. They better be good, but I think they will be. Like, Secret Invasion and Loki are, like, right up my alley. I'm like, did you program this year for me? All right, so... I already talked about that, Steven, about why I felt they might not have advertised Mando as much as they did before. All right, so anyway, Netflix, of course, has the binge model, but they started the 3 a.m. drop, which is technically midnight on the West Coast. I have to tell you, anyone who lives in Los Angeles or anyone's on the West Coast, and whenever I've been there, I notice this, it feels very separate from the rest of the world. It's like in its own little bubble because it's just so off from the timing. In New York City, the East Coast feels very much at the center of the world. I think London and Paris have the same global feel. But I think like one of the things is just like New York is perfectly situated from like a timing perspective. Like we still catch a little bit of London, we still catch a little bit of the West Coast. I think Asia, because Asia and Australia are so far off in the time frame as well, that I think it's a little bit tough for you guys too. But I think that for better or worse, New York and Europe really control like and I think most news organizations are based in New York. So I think that it just feels more like I think the HBO 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, which by the way is midnight in Europe for the most part, so that's still pretty good. And then that's 6 p.m. on the West Coast, so it works really well in my opinion. Nicholas says, short episode with weekly release, Boba Fett did delude the magic. Disney should move to Hawaii. Many friends did not know it was coming out. What do you mean they should move to Hawaii? I don't get that comment. All right, so anyway, I think HBO has incredible drop times. That's interesting, Sean. The Weeknd apparently just posted a clip in response to Rolling Stone. I mean, I don't care how good the show is if it's that offensive, but we're not talking about that. We got to stay on topic. All right, so the reason that Netflix can still... you mean Disney should move a theme park to Hawaii? No, that's too far away. It's 5 hours from Los Angeles. That's, I'm afraid, too far away. But I can see why you would suggest it, but it's just too far away. Hey, Christopher, unless they could buy an island, Disney Island, I would go to there. Christopher says, why can other services figure this out and put on better shows? What is HBO's secret? I think that HBO is it's their brand, but they're willing to take the time to really make great content. And they're a little bit more adult, which I think is where people are skewing. I think that Disney feels I think Disney relies a lot on their brand, and so sometimes they're a little sloppy. And I think that it goes for them across the board, from their movies to their theme parks to their shows. I think they feel like, hey, it's Disney, how are you not going to watch it? And a lot of times you're like, you got me. But I think that there's so much competition now that, people are starting to be like, come on. Jojo Bell says, I like the evening late drops, especially for The Last of Us, because it's kind of spooky. That ghost is adorable, Jojo Bell. Danny says, and it's a firm tradition now for my family to watch the weekly drops on Thursday night, followed by your breakdown. Aw, thank you. And I like your diamond, Danny. Another Danny. Paul says, HBO's drops make the show feel more like event TV. Yeah, because everyone's talking about it. That's the other problem. Once a show drops and people aren't talking about it right away, more and more people feel that they can skip it or they can wait to watch it. You want people to be like, I gotta watch it when it drops or I'm gonna get it spoiled for me on the Twitters, which is something that used to happen with Disney Plus shows. The current Disney Plus model, 3 a.m. drops with short episodes, is very reliant on Easter eggs. And so when you have an episode like today, and I'm sorry to say even next week, that aren't very Easter egg centric, it's harder for them to trend. And then The Last of Us trends on quality, but even The Last of Us, I think, is suffering a little bit. I think episode 7 had tremendously low interest. I was really surprised by that. And I think people are getting frustrated with the lack of zombies on the show. And I gotta tell you, it's not gonna get more zombie-rific, at least this season. Because, again, I've seen the rest of it. That's all I'll say. But, I still think it's very compelling, but I think some people are like, where are the zombies? So that's an interesting question. So the other thing is that Netflix, because they drop an entire season in 3 a.m., it still trends throughout the day because people are burning through the show. So that's why Wednesday still trends. That's why Stranger Things still trends. And also, Netflix has started to get around this by doing parts. So they drop a season. They still allow the binge model to some degree, but they drop it in 2 different parts. So it spreads out the conversation. That was very effective with Stranger Things season 4. And I think it's worked very effectively with You as well. So I think that's going to be something they do more and more often. All right, so that's the first story of the day. I'll be curious to see if Disney decides what to do, to maybe change things up a little bit. Remember they used to drop episodes on Friday and we were like, this is competing with the movies. And so they moved to Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised if Mando continues not to perform very well. We'll see. As Aaliyah said, we'll see what the Nielsen ratings are. That'll be very important. I think that, we'll see if maybe they switch till maybe at 8 or 7 p.m. I think 8 o'clock for family. A lot of families watch Disney Plus. I think at 8 p.m. I think 9's great, quite frankly. I mean, these shows are so short, they could drop at 9. But I think because of kids, maybe they could drop it at 8 o'clock. Let me ask you guys what you think. Wandering Seth says that the 3 a.m. drop time often worked out to be around midnight or mid-evening in New Zealand, so it was great for us, but not so great for Disney's domestic market. All right, let me ask you a poll here. What time would you like Disney Plus episodes to drop? That's right, Big D. It's poll time. Okay, so 3 a.m. works great. 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We could do 7 p.m. Well, let's do 8 p.m. No, 7 p.m. I could see 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then 9. I think 9 p.m. is a little late, but we'll put it in there anyway. I think for family content. All right, there you go. iReady, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Hey, Maria. Welcome back. I like your image there. That's very nice. All right, so you can go ahead and vote. Oh, I'm glad you like the new badges, Morrow. If you haven't noticed, we now have 3 and 4 year badges, Emerald and Ruby. Oh, fancy. So I'll let you guys vote on that. We'll just give it a minute. If you have any questions about this, go ahead and ask me questions about this specific topic, and then we'll move on to the next story. Anime Lover says 7 p.m. would be amazing, also for Europe. Yes, that would be, that would be midnight. Wouldn't that, no, 7 p.m. would be midnight for you. Oh, wait a minute here. So 9 p.m. is what time? Oh, that's 2 a.m. for you. Oh, that sucks. It will be okay. Says Star Wars shows aren't watched because the audience doesn't know where the show is going. I think maybe, also Mandalorian is airing at the same time as the Bad Batch. And I got to tell you, some people said they thought the Bad Batch episode this week was better. Bad Batch is really good this season. Really, really good. You should be watching that show as well. I think the Bad Batch is phenomenal. And there's some exciting stuff happening there for the Star Wars lore. I felt bad I didn't know about the space whales because I never watched Rebels. But it's a big thing to watch all that stuff, Star Wars Rebels. But I'm starting to feel I'm not going to know what the heck's going on in Ahsoka if I don't watch it. So maybe I should get on that. How many seasons is Star Wars Rebels? Oh, man. Let me look it up. I don't have this kind of time, man. Let me see here. Star Wars Rebels. How many seasons is this? 4 seasons. Oh my God. It's going to take me forever. How many episodes are in a season? 15. That's season 4. What's the first season? Because it's a cartoon. I bet it's even more than that. No, 15. I don't know. I guess maybe I could do it. I better do it if I want to be able to watch cover Ahsoka. Damn it. Kevin Plopper says it's a slog. That's funny. Barbara Seville says, Star Wars and Marvel have exhausted my goodwill and interest. I don't even have Disney Plus anymore. That's hardcore, Barbara. But, I guess you want to send a message. And I think they're hearing a number of you loud and clear. Bob Iger's probably like, why did I come out of retirement? Maybe I should not have done that. Let's see here. David Potts says, Grace, watch recaps and breakdowns. The show is so kiddie. Oh, that's a good idea. I could always just read about it on Wikipedia. Is it really kiddie-like? I didn't like the animation. I really like Bad Batch, though. All right, hold on. Let me end this poll. Okay. So, let's see. Chad. CJ's like, Young Justice, Grace. Why? That's funny. All right. I'm sorry I haven't gotten to it. All right, so 8 p.m. That's probably what I would go with, too. 29%. 7 p.m. gets 27%. 21% of you feel that you're happy with the time that it is now. So that's just 21%. That's like almost 80% that are not pleased with the current drop. And then 20% of you go with the HBO route. That's interesting. I love it. Okay, so that's the first story of the day. Let's go on to the second story of the day. And yes, speaking of Stranger Things, boop. This is great. I'm so happy about this. I wish that I lived in London. Now, if you live in London, I'm going to put the website down. You might want to go sign up to this website to get priority tickets. I just put the website there if you want to get priority tickets for this live stage event for Stranger Things. So just like Harry Potter, of course, had an absolutely, oh, look at Christopher. That's so sweet of you, Christopher. Christopher says thank you for the membership. So Harry Potter, of course, put on The Cursed Child, which also started out in London before coming to Broadway, and it was wonderful. I went to see it. It was a great experience. It was a two 2-hour plays. They changed the theming to the theater in between the two things. You could go either see it in a single day or 2 separate nights. And it was really, really great. I know some people didn't like the Cursed Child storyline, but I thought it was good. I mean, it wasn't like the level of great Broadway, but I had a really good time. I thought it was fun. I thought the story was interesting. And I thought that the visual effects were excellent. And just the ambiance. I had a great evening. I really liked doing that. And then also I've done, hey Duncan, I've done the Stranger Things live event in Brooklyn just this past year. That was incredible as well. I had such a good time doing that. I love that. My family did it together. We really had a good time. And then Back to the Future also started in London, has been very successful as a musical, and is coming to Broadway soon. And I have tickets for that. I'm very excited for Back to the Future. Roger Bart, can he do as good a job as Doc Brown? Apparently he can. I'm very excited for this stuff. So Stranger Things is also doing a theatrical experience. And they're doing Stranger Things, The First Shadow. Ooh. And I heard from somebody who's read the script that it's quite good. So I'm like, oh, even better. Oh, that's right, Mika. I saw Willy Wonka too. Willy Wonka didn't get enough respect. Christian Borle played Willy Wonka. That was a great show. And they sold candy. That was from Warner Brothers Theatrical. Oh, I had a great time seeing that too. This stuff is fun. So anyway, this is going to be at London's West End, late 2023, later this year. And it's in fact directed by Stephen frickin' Daldry from Billy Elliot. That's incredible. Hey, BM. Stephen, I don't know if Netflix will film it. I don't think they will. I think they're going to want you to go and see this live. I think it's going to start out in London, and I think it's going to come to Broadway. And I will watch it. So let me tell you, the Duffer Brothers are involved. Let me put that website in again. Oh, I'm glad you signed up, Swamp Thing. There's that website again. If now you're starting to hear about it, you're like, maybe I should sign up for tickets after all. That's to get early access, priority tickets. They'll give you a heads up before anybody else. So the Duffer Brothers are involved creatively, and here's the setup. Hawkins, 1959. Oh, it's going to be Mad Many. A regular town with regular worries. Or is it? Young Jim Hopper's car won't start, so they're doing younger versions of the characters. It's a little bit like Back to the Future. So they're doing young Jim Hopper's car won't start. Bob Newby's sister won't take his radio show seriously, and Joyce Maldonado just wants to graduate and get the hell out of town. But we know she's not getting out of town, at least not until season 4. When new student Henry Creel arrives, it better be Jamie Campbell Bower. Who the heck's going to play that? When Henry Creel arrives, new student, his family finds that a fresh start isn't so easy, and the shadows of the past have a very long reach. Brought to life by a multi-award winning creative team who take theatrical storytelling and stagecraft to a whole new dimension. Imagine how incredible that's going to be. This gripping new adventure will take you right back to the beginning of the Stranger Things story and may hold the key to the end. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I really wish that it was coming out in the United States. I'm sure it'll get here eventually, but that sounds really, really good. So I'm very impressed. I'm very, very excited about this show, and I think a lot of people would go and see it. Oh, I wonder, Mika, if Matthew Modine's character would be involved. That's interesting. He'd have to be, right? He'd probably be bothering Henry Creel. I wonder who they'll decide to cast in these roles. That will be key. I mean, I don't know who could do as good a job as Jamie Campbell Bower, who's basically playing, it's supposed to be him, but I mean, with the other actors, you can get away with younger versions of, David Harbour, Winona. Who's going to play young Winona Ryder? Good luck with that. But I mean, you can get pretty good ones. I think that they brought over for, I think Brendan Viet starting out in England for street cred. Shows always start in England, and then they're very successful, and then they come here. That's usually the path that they take. Harry Potter did it, Back to the Future did it, and now Stranger Things. But this just sounds phenomenal to me, and I'm really, really excited about it. I just think it sounds so good. All right, so that's the second story. Does anyone have any questions about this? I basically just did an ad for Stranger Things. But I think this is great. I think more movies and stuff should do these kinds of experiences. I think they're really fantastic. Oh, Nacho Flores is trying to boop us into the next story. Steven, I don't think it's a musical. That would be crazy. I think it's going to be, on-stage horror. So they're going to have really cool visual effects and stuff like that. Linzik says, do you think it would get to Broadway before season 5? Probably. I hope so. That would be, I think, ideal. Maybe right around when season 5 is going to start. They haven't even started shooting season 5, I believe. So I think this is a good way to bridge the gap. Because I think season 5 is the last season. No, it's the end. But the Duffer Brothers are like, we want to do something else. But that's very, very exciting. I don't know if I'm going to see Jodie Comer's play Sean Turner. I don't think so. I got a lot of Broadway tickets lined up, and I don't know if I want to spend any more money. I'm seeing Sweeney Todd. I'm seeing Camelot. I got a lot of stuff that I'm seeing, so that's a lot. That's a lot of tickets. David says the issue for me is apparently this show is canon. However, are Joyce and Hopper going to be involved in supernatural stuff and don't remember it? And Henry Creel was 12 when he went to the facility. Yeah, that is my only problem with this, that it reminds me a little bit of like when they sometimes do a Superman and they're like, guess what? Clark and Lex Luthor knew each other as kids. And I'm like, what? I don't like that stuff at all. So I get a little bit nervous about that. But I trust the Duffer Brothers, to be honest with you. Maybe they all forget. I don't know. But it sounds excellent. Okay. Talon, I think I might have heard of Stranger Things the musical. That's pretty funny. What is that, like the Harry Potter, like a spoof thing so I can get away with it? All right, let's see here. Hold on. Third story of the day. Boom, baby. He did it. Kelsey Grammer got Bebe Neuwirth to return to the Frasier new show. Oh, that's a big deal. Hey, Javel. That's a very big deal. This show really needed that. Kelsey Grammer's having a good run. Jesus Revolution, which he stars in, finished number 3 at the box office and actually did quite well. Jen, I don't know who's playing Marty McFly. They haven't cast that yet for Back to the Future. It doesn't start until the fall or late summer, I think. Hugo, you don't know what Frasier is? Oh, my goodness. All right, so Frasier is one of the best sitcoms ever made. Maybe it doesn't play in other countries, but it's up there with like Seinfeld and The Big Bang Theory and The Office and all the great series of all time. It's really successful. Cheers, as Mika pointed out, this was a spin-off on Cheers, itself an incredibly successful show, but it was very, like Friends. Little Baby Pizza bought Sherry to prepare. That's hilarious. I love it. And so Frasier was extremely successful, and it was incredibly well written. It actually won a ton of awards just because it was just so incredibly well written. And so I think that's the biggest stumbling block for them coming back. I recently rewatched Frasier. I think some of the last seasons weren't as good as the beginning seasons, but I'd say I'd say 2/3 of the show are incredible. Like really, really an incredible show. I think they're on Hulu, but you should definitely watch them. Wandering Seth, nobody ever talks about Murphy Brown. I think because it's not airing anywhere. Murphy Brown was also a really fantastic show. Sitcoms used to be like fire. Like they were really, really good. And there are no sitcoms today. And it's a lost art because sitcoms are really still entertaining. If you watch these older sitcoms, they're still great. So anyway, Kelsey Grammer's like, I need more money. So Kelsey Grammer got Paramount Plus to pick up Frasier as the 3rd chapter in Frasier's life. Frasier Crane is, Abbott Elementary. Josh loves movies. That's a great point. Abbott Elementary is doing a great job. Very, very successful. So Frasier's coming back, and Bebe Neuwirth, who was also on Cheers, is also going to return for the show. And that makes me feel that they might actually be able to get Niles back. I don't know how this is going to work without Niles, as Dory Does Voices just pointed out. Now, David Hyde Pierce and Bebe Neuwirth just also appeared in Julia, the Julia Child show on HBO Max, which is coming back for a 2nd season and is absolutely phenomenal. That's another great show. And Niles has already said, I'm not coming back. But I think he will. I think he's just writing for Bebe Neuwirth said she wasn't coming back either. And yet here she is. And I'll tell you something else. When I was researching this for today's story, I discovered something else promising. They've cast an actor as Niles and Daphne's son. Oh, I'm excited. I'm going to check this out. I think this sounds really good. And James Burrows is returning to direct. James Burrows, back in the day when all these sitcoms were such a big deal, James Burrows was the sitcom director. Like, if you wanted your sitcom to be successful, you got James Burrows to come and direct it. So that's pretty promising. That's very, very exciting. So I think there's a very strong chance that Niles will return. I think he's just waiting for that big check, and I think he has every right to wait. Because I don't think you can make the show, as Stephen Carrier just said, without Niles. I'll still watch it even if Niles isn't on the show, but it's not going to be as good. You got to have Niles. So Frasier, the setup, just in case you haven't heard, I think this is actually a pretty good setup. So Frasier goes back to Boston after living in Seattle. He goes back to Boston. They've cast some British actor, a British comedian is like his crazy friend who's like gets into a lot of trouble, very hedonistic. And then he's moving back to Boston, and his son Freddie has actually grown up to be more like his grandfather Marty. So they're keeping that dynamic. Unfortunately, the actor who played Martin passed away, so he can't return. So that still keeps that, the salt of the earth, working class element to the show that made Frasier so successful, because it had, Niles and Frasier were very stuffy. Oh, John Mahoney, thank you, Michael. Niles and Frasier were very stuffy, but you would contrast that with their salt of the earth father, John Mahoney playing Martin. So it turns out Freddie has followed in his grandfather's footsteps and is going to be a fireman. And so I think that's going to be really fantastic. I think that's great. So I think this show actually sounds pretty good. But let's just say it's crucial that they get Niles and Daphne to return. That would be just so, so fantastic. Little Baby Pizza. Maybe I hope there's like an Eddie 2.0. That would be great. Some of you were pointing out some reboots haven't worked, although Night Court apparently is very popular. I just haven't been able to, I haven't been into that show. I haven't watched it even. Although I do like that actress from Big Bang Theory. I didn't even try the Mad About You reboot, which was on like some weird like streaming service, right? I think it was like on a cable. It was like on Spectrum or something. But yeah, I think that this could be really, really good. I think they should get Will and Grace's reboot. I watched that. I thought that was pretty good. It didn't have quite the magic of the show when it first came out, but I thought it was still good. And I think that this could be similar to that, where it will be very watchable. I will definitely watch this, though. Like 1,000%. Everyone will watch it. I think a lot of people. Let me ask you. Why don't I put a poll up? And then we'll go to the Q&A. Will you watch the new Frasier show? The new Frasier on Paramount Plus. I have Paramount Plus. They keep getting me with the auto renewal. They're like, thanks for another year. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to fight it. I got other stuff to do. Sure will. And then I'll try it. And then I don't have Paramount Plus. And then I have no interest. There you go. How are you not voting for sure? It's such a good show. Really, go watch Frasier on Hulu and you'll be like, boy, this is a good show. It's so well written. Yeah, Kelsey Grammer did some weird stuff in life. He's done some weird stuff. His wife, of course, was a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, and she aired a lot of dirty laundry. It was like mutual destruction on both their parts. It's pretty rough. The Brendan V says, thoughts on the Fatal Attraction teaser. Yeah, I saw they were bringing that back as a series. What's that guy's name from Dawson Creek? I like him so much. But, hey, Chris Kitts. So the part of me is tempted to try it just for him. He was really good on Dr. Death. He's really like Joshua Jackson. Thank you. Joshua Jackson has turned into a fantastic adult actor. He's done some other stuff. He's just great. Hey, Javel. Let me see how this poll's going. Not well. Thank you, Riley. I'll put that up in just a minute. Does anyone have any specific questions about Frasier? Lisa says, are they adding diversity to the show? I believe they are, Lisa. I think, I don't think you can be a competitive show today and not have diversity, which should be the case. And I do believe they've cast some actors of color. Hey, Abby. I think I said hi to Chris, right? Hey, Chris Kitts, did I say hi to you? All right, let me see let's end the poll and then we'll get on to the Q&A. 55% have absolutely no interest. Oh, 18% don't have Paramount Plus. Oh, 14% say I'll try it, and 11% say they are definitely watching. Oh, that's bad. That's abysmal. That's so bad. Yikes. Yikes. Well, maybe that's good for Paramount Plus's numbers. Maybe Paramount Plus is like, I'll take it. All right, so that's the third story of the day. Let's go to the Q&A. Woohoo, Q&A time. It's 5:18. You can ask me anything you'd like until like 5:30. We'll just do 5:30. No, we'll do 5:28, and then I'll do shout-outs. Gotta do shout-outs. Moro says, did you like the Peter Pan and Wendy trailer? I thought elements of it were nice, and I'm a sucker for this Disney stuff, so I will be watching it, and I'll be reviewing it. But I didn't think I could tell you from when I put my business hat on, I was like, yeah, I'd send that straight to Disney Plus, and it's just simply not good enough, quite frankly. Masterword 648 says, thoughts on Sentry casting. Oh, I can't say anything. I got to be careful. I don't want to spoil stuff, but in case you aren't on Twitter, in case you aren't on the Twitters, I did find out from my sources yesterday that Stephen Yeun is not playing. Is it Yeun or Yoon? I think some of you are pulling my leg. But he is not Amadeus Cho. So that really only leaves one other option on the table, and that's all I'll say about it. I just hope Marvel takes care of him. I think that some people, unfortunately, are going to be very toxic about that casting. That's just the way things are these days. And he'd have to be really incredible to get over that hurdle. And so I hope that he is. I think he's a great actor. I have some concern about the quality of the script and stuff like that. So let's just see. I hope that Disney takes good care of him. Riley Light says, does Zendaya need to comment on Sam Levinson? I wouldn't. I think she's going to hang back. I mean, if anything, she'll just quietly drop out of Euphoria season 3. That's what I think she'll do. Zendaya is a pro. Zendaya is very professional. Alwatch says, Shazam theory. Mary looks the same in Shazam form because she studied magic more than the others. Blurs the line of her normal self to her Shazam self that she became addicted. Alwatch, I don't understand your theory. But Shazam's coming out soon. I did watch the Golden Girls, Hannah. I watched during the pandemic, I went through like a sitcom phase. Before the pandemic, I was like, who would rewatch sitcoms? That seems like crazy. During the pandemic, I was like, all right, let's do this. I had a wonderful time, especially when you watch sitcoms like condensed. The storylines do connect. They do have an overarching story. So it's actually fantastic. You watch like 4 a night. It's great. You burn right through them. I highly recommend it. Oh, thank you, Ryan K. Let me see. I got a lot of questions coming in. Hold on. 1 second. Okay. Raymond says, Grace, what's your guess for Ant-Man's second week box office? Raymond, you mean the third weekend? Because we just had the second weekend. I think Creed is gonna be the next big movie. It's tracking very strong to the biggest opening yet for the Creed movies. They say it could open as big as 40. So that really sucks for Quantumania, boy. Let's just see how big the drop is. I think it might not even. The worldwide numbers came in late on Sunday, which is why I wasn't able to discuss them in Movie Math. Oh, we'll discuss them this coming Sunday, but it's looking bad. It might not even get to 500 million at the rate that it's going. It's looking to be one of the lowest grossing Marvel movies of all time. It won't even match, I think, the first Ant-Man, and that's like, you should cry about that. That's really embarrassing. Rippy, I'm working my way up to the new glasses. Kat, I like the new Tinkerbell too, but again, I feel really bad that she's not glowing like she's supposed to. Everybody she has the right dress and the wings and the hair. She looks great. But Tinkerbell glows, darn it. And the fact that she doesn't glow, I feel, is like not great for the character. And so why not put the best foot forward to give that character the best possible chance to succeed? Tiff says, what do you think of Milla Jovovich's daughter? I think she's a little stiff. Steve says, hi, Grace. What are your thoughts on Shazam 2's low tracking? Is the movie a dog or a cheap Warner Brothers marketing? I think it's just a sad casualty of the fact that they're rebooting DC. So that just really undercut that film. And it's unfortunate for everybody involved. I'm still looking forward to it. I thought the first one was charming. So I'm trying to take that approach with the next movie. Because again, I'm getting tired of like all the hate and negativity. So I'm trying to approach it with a positive thing. But, Warner Brothers kind of threw that movie under the bus. So it's going to try the best that it can. I think it'll probably do very well on HBO Max. Sean says, I can't believe you went with Emerald for badges. I was the one to suggest. Oh, thank you, Sean. Sean, thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. I felt bad that I didn't remember who exactly suggested it. And it was a great suggestion, and that's why I did it. So thank you so much. Kevin Alexander says, how soon will you watch and review Scream? Oh, you want to know? I am watching and reviewing Scream Tuesday. The screening is on Tuesday night, and the embargo lifts, I believe, at midnight. Hold on. Let me go look and make sure in my schedule. Oh, 3 a.m. Oh, midnight Western Standard Time, Pacific Coast time. So, yeah, I'm seeing it Tuesday night, and the embargo is another 3 a.m. drop. But I'll do it before then and just have it set to go off. Steve Music says, have you seen it? Oh, another Scream 6 question. I have not seen it yet. I'm seeing it on Tuesday. Hank says, any tea on the Batman 2? I was the one who reported first they were filming in November. See, the scoop game is crazy. No offense, Hank, but I just find that crazy. I broke that story. And then a lot of people, some people are still jerks and are like, oh, Grace said it. I don't know. Then it was proven. And then they conveniently forget that I broke the story. So, it's like the internet's a giant game of telephone, man. But I'm always giving you the clear signal. But yeah, Hank, I have not heard any tea about who's cast, what characters they actually decided to go with. But I'm really paying attention to it. But I'm being very careful. I don't want to ruin movies. That's very, very important. So I'm not going to tell you exactly who a character is, unless it's like, I don't know, like if it's a major character that's definitely going to be in the movie, like, and they're going to promote the movie, and of course everyone's going to know about it in the trailers, well then yes. So that's the line I try and go by. DL, I don't think I'm going to do a Creed spoiler review, I'm afraid. Ryan says, sorry I'm late. You may have answered, but will you react to Haunted Mansion? Yes, I will. I might have to put giant letters over the trailer, but I will definitely react and break down the Haunted Mansion trailer. I like Haunted Mansion. I have a love-hate relationship with Haunted Mansion that creeps me out. It scares me. I'm like, I don't want to think about this while I'm on vacation, but I do really love the ride. It's an incredible attraction. Jewel Rodriguez, hey Jewel, says, do you know why the character Luis wasn't in the new Ant-Man? Paul Rudd needs better supporting cast. Well, they said they just didn't have space for him, and because it was all in the quantum mania, the quantum realm. But yeah, I think it was really horrible that Luis wasn't in that. I had no idea, by the way, that Michael Pena was a Scientologist. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, why Michael Pena? Why? But we all support Tom Cruise, so I don't see why we should have any problem with Michael Pena, who I really love. Clement says, Grace, did you get screenings for Shadow and Bone? I did. I have to work. I have to watch them. I have the whole season. Hold on. I'll tell you when the embargo is. The embargo is when the show drops. So I have Ted Lasso screeners right now. I have Shadow and Bone screeners. I just finished Perry Mason, which starts on Monday. Perry Mason season 2 is so good. So there's good stuff coming finally. Thank goodness. Tiff says, what do you think about... Oh, Tiff, as I said, I think Mila Jovovich's daughter is a little bit stiff in her movements and acting. I think her mom's pretty good, so I don't know why she's... And her father's a famous director. Well, famous. He's famous. But yeah. Juan says, thoughts on Jeff saying Fantastic Four will not be in the Avengers movie he's writing. I think it's funny. He's like, emphasis on he's writing. Let's just see if Jeff keeps his job. FM Sorcerer says, is there a line of art versus exploitation re-idol? I think there are some things you don't glorify, and I can't discuss them because, of YouTube's rules. But I think that there's a sort of male fantasy that's being put forward by some people that just simply isn't appropriate. It's not an appropriate male fantasy. BM says, didn't Zendaya already sign her Euphoria contract? Well, I think she can be like, I'm not suing you for getting me involved in this, am I? I mean, she really threw all in with Sam Levinson. He directed that movie that she starred in with John David Washington, which actually was only okay. She was fabulous in it, and he was good, but the movie was only okay. But I think that, I think she's going to be really reluctant to walk away from that payday. But, this is Zendaya. I don't know how after today anybody would want to be associated with Sam Levinson. So, I don't think she's going to disavow the work that she did. They might bring in someone else to do Euphoria. I saw someone say that there are writers on the show who are not Sam Levinson and people prefer those episodes. HBO might get on the phone with Sam Levinson and say, hey, man, why don't you take a break? That's what I would say to him. They have a long list of people they need to take a break over there. They're like, J.K. Rowling. My call list is ridiculous. I got to call J.K. Rowling. I got to call Sam Levinson. It's nuts. David says, thank you so much for the Scream watch-along. So excited for this new film. Just booked my tickets for Scream and the 6 double bill next Wednesday. Oh, that's great. That's so fun. Oh, yeah, Josh. Scrubs was... I didn't love Scrubs. Oh, Sean, British sitcoms are great, too. Agreed. Let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to do a mix. Oh, wow. Innovative David. I just saw you. I'll get to you in a second. That's very generous of you. Hold on. I'm catching up here. I'm trying to do a mix of super chats and also members. Oh my goodness. I'm really getting behind here on the comments. Hold on. Let's see here. Licky Mai says, oh, look at that Ruby. Looks great on you. Hi, Grace. It's been a minute since I've been able to join a live. I've been really getting into comic book writing. Any tips on how to get started in the industry? Oh, I'll be happy to give you the tips here for anyone who's interested in being a comic book writer. Unfortunately, there are no agents in comic book writing. At least I don't think so still. The best thing to do is you have to make contacts with the editors. So you can, the best thing to do is to go to comic book conventions and to reach out and talk to the editors when they're doing, they should be at the booths. And so you just should stop by and say, I'm an aspiring writer. I have some spec scripts. So I'm wondering if you might be willing to check them out. And don't just think about the big people. Think about the smaller publishers too, because you got to work your way up. I wrote for Marvel and DC, but I started out writing manga for Tokyo Pop. So, you got to work your way up the ladder. And then also, don't write a story with their characters in it unless they ask you to, because that's just going to scare them. They're going to be like, whoa, I don't want to get accused of stealing your idea, man. So they won't touch it. So write a comic about like something that has nothing to do with their company. Oh, I forgot to turn my heat off. It's going to come on in a minute. I'm sorry about that. 1 second. Let me turn it off. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Okay, I did it. Simon says, favorite Golden Girl. You can only pick one. Oh, I guess I would go with Blanche. I really like Blanche, but Rose is very funny too. They're all great. Let's see here. Toby says, Zendaya gets 1 million per episode in Euphoria. I wouldn't leave. Let's see how toxic this situation gets, though. ZM Sorcerer says, what are your thoughts on the Zachary Levi drama? Well, I'll just say he's making it really easy for Warner Brothers to move on without him. Danny says, when did BTT get conceived and how long did it take from conception to first video? Oh, that's a long story. I appreciate you asking, Danny, but I guess the long story short is that somebody needed some videos for a player that they were trying to sell. And they asked me if I wanted, that's how I got into, it was a different show, different name. And they asked me if I wanted to do a show. And I was like, oh yeah, I'd like to do entertainment coverage the way I'd like to do it. And I came from an improv, sketch comedy and film school background. And that's kind of, I've been evolving the show ever since. And I started out with many of you, as you know, on the street interviews with people who just got out of the theater. Hey, Devin. Devin says, of the rumors casting for Reed Richards, who would you cast? I kind of like Dev Patel. I think he's an interesting choice. I really like Adam Driver for the role. I'm sorry. That's who I like. I think Penn Badgley shot down that he was in. I heard that Penn Badgley was in talks, but he said he wasn't. I think he would have been a good choice. And then I also like, I think, I don't want to give away too many names, but I like Adam Driver. That's who that's who I think was a good choice. Clement, I answered your Shadow and Bone question. I feel bad you keep asking it. Didn't you see that I answered? I have the screeners, and the embargo lifts the day when the episodes drop. Voice Inject says, was Jerry Seinfeld really upset with Larry King in the Larry King Live interview, or was it a comedy routine? I didn't even see that story. I'll have to look it up. Your little brother Gabriel says, no question here. Just wanted to say how much I appreciate. Thank you, Gabriel. That's very sweet. I love your Ruby. Queen Davy says, never seen Creed movies, but gonna watch 3 trailer, looks good. It's a good movie. It's a fun movie. I liked it. Let's see here. Wandering Seth says, this is Stephen Yoon's name in Korean. The first syllable is his family name. That vowel is the same name sound in John, in Job, and Long. John, Stephen Yon. So it's Stephen Yon? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to make sure I be respectful here. It's hard. I'll have to go look up an interview. Usually that's how I figure out how to pronounce someone's name. I go and look up an interview, and then hopefully the interviewer doesn't chicken out and says the name out loud. Maria says, are you still sugar-free? I am pretty much sugar-free, Maria. I'm also cutting back significantly on carbs. Snack recommendations, hummus, I find a great snack. I like roasted almonds with a little bit of salt. Those are excellent. I think that's a great snack choice. Let's see, what else? Vegetables are very good. And also, I'm not sugar-free to the point where I don't eat fruit. So that's a good way. Like I had some raspberries earlier. That's a good way to have a little bit of sugar, have a sweetness. Because, if you don't have any sweetness, it becomes very monotonous in what you're eating. And so that's tough. Hold on, I haven't even gotten to that. Let me skip forward to this really generous comment. So Innovative David says, Grace, bought and watched Everything Everywhere All at Once over the weekend. Such powerful performances by Michelle Yeoh and Ke-Huy Kwan. Truly an astonishing film. Do you see Marvel writing Yeoh a larger role should she win the Oscar for Shang-Chi? That would be wonderful. I would love for her to be more than just like the aunt/mom. That would be great. And I'm very glad, Ke-Huy Kwan is in Loki. And he has a very pivotal role. So I'm pretty excited about that. And thank you for your very generous support. That's very kind of you. All right, let me go back. Alexis says, Grace, what happened to the Dune Sisterhood series? It's a mess. They're just totally ripping it apart and having to redo it. Let's see here. Anna says, hi, Grace. I'm seeing my first Broadway show, a horror play in May. Oh, wow. I'm so excited for you. Any suggestions for the first trip to New York City and Broadway theater? Be a little careful. There's a lot of crime in that area right now. I would stay off 8th Avenue as much as possible. But have a great time. There are a lot of nice stores there. There are a lot of beautiful restaurants. And you'll be going in May and you can eat outside. And you should have like a lot of really great places to be able to go. And so I think you're going to have a really wonderful time. Mandela Butterfly says, are you live streaming tomorrow? It'll be tomorrow or Friday. I promised you 3 live streams a week. I got to see what my timing is and if there are any stories. Let's see here. Oh, CL, welcome back. Lecky, I did your super chat. I'm just very behind on the super chats. I'm picking up. CH says, prediction for best summer movie 2023. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe we'll be surprised and it'll be Indiana Jones. That would make me very happy. Hector Vegas says, can you tell us why Disney didn't let people review the Peter Pan trailer? I don't know for sure, so I don't want to speculate on that. I don't feel comfortable speculating on it. It could have just been an accident and they forgot to take it off of protection. You never know for sure. Raphael says, I've been a hardcore Marvel fan and I willingly missed Quantumania waiting for it on Disney+. I was really scared by myself. What do you mean you were scared by yourself? You scared the fact that you decided to skip it? I think streaming is a double-edged sword in that people know they can wait just a little bit and have a premium experience. So that's a little bit tough. But, I think it's also a boon because it catches an audience that maybe wouldn't see the movie otherwise. So I think as long as you feel you might be able to be persuaded to come back, I wouldn't be too worried about it. World of Devon says, Grace, I remember one time when you were reading the trending list for Twitter, you shouted out Lil Wayne. I was wondering if you are a fan of his. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore Lil Wayne fan, but, mad respect for the dude. Shadiest Stray says, any Cavill updates with Argyle and Highlander with Stahelski? Greetings from Sweden. Now, I haven't heard anything going on with Cavill. I think he's having a rough time. He's having a real rough time. Let's see here. Jay Schrumpelstein says, so happy to be back. Thank you, tax returns. Oh, that's great. Oh, did you get some money back from the government? I love it. Tiff, I'm not sure about the Super Mario Brothers movie. I got to see it. I got to see it first. And then, hold on here. Oh, my goodness. Hold on. I'm trying to make sure I get to... Oh, we're way over the time, too. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. Alawatch says, who would you cast as younger Black Adam for Shazam 3? I don't know if they're going to make any more Shazams. Let's see how it does at the box office. Mandela Butterfly, I think Amber Heard still has a few minutes. I told you, like under 10 minutes in Aquaman 2. Let's see here. Popcorn Roulette says The Weeknd and Depp have just both made comments on the Sam Levinson controversy and they're defending Sam Levinson. Well, of course they are. They're in the show and they did the things that are questionable. So they're definitely going to defend it. Let's see what HBO says. Logan Lauer, hey, thanks for coming back. Let's see here. David says, welcome to live. Oh, hey, I'm trying to catch up. David, thank you for joining. Lloyd Lester says, Grace, can you recommend a graphic Batman comic? What do you mean a graphic Batman comic? They're all, you mean like a graphic novel? I would always read Batman Year One, Batman Long Halloween, and Batman Dark Victory, and The Dark Knight Returns, and The Killing Joke. Those are the top ones. Innovative David, that's very generous of you again. Also love the line, and everything everywhere all at once. In another life, I would have been happy with doing laundry and taxes with you. Oh, that's great. Sending love from Cincinnati. Can't wait for the Oscars. I'll be live tweeting. I was just thinking earlier today, what's my Oscar party going to be? Oh, look, I'm just catching up to you guys on the Golden Girls. Oh, we'll do a fun poll while we wrap up. Who's your favorite Golden Girl? We'll see who wins. Let's see if you can pick just one. The Oscars are a week from Sunday. It's also the finale of The Last of Us. The Last of Us has the worst luck. Okay, Dorothy, Blanche, Rose, and of course, Sophia. Good luck. You can't pick just one. World of Devon, I think people who watch Mando are enjoying it. The problem is people maybe aren't watching. Oh, Shamshire, that's wonderful. That's very generous of you to gift 10 memberships. And Raphael, oh, that's an adorable sticker. Thank you so much. And Logan says, after the success of Chernobyl, how would you feel about a series or movie about the Ohio disaster? I can see that happening for sure, but I would hope they wouldn't make it political or too political. Brett says, hey, Grace, the OG since review. Ah, thank you. Thanks for sticking with me. Do you know if Shazam 2 tested well like Flash did? I'm very excited because I love the first one. I think the nice thing about Shazam is that they didn't bench it. If they were going to bench and get a tax write-off for Batgirl, you would think they would do the same for sure with Shazam. And then Skyte says, I think I'll add Disney Plus again when the shows and movies I like are completely out and watch them all over a weekend and get rid of it again. Yeah, people, churn, baby. Churn, baby, churn. Steven says the Idol drama seems overblown. I wouldn't say that at all, Steven. You must not have read that article closely. Nikita's also asking about that. I think it's really bad. I think it's really a bad situation. Let's see here. And then I have a really generous comment from Michael. Thank you, Michael. Shout out to my son Bennett, movie montage veteran, who just got accepted into his doctorate program. 2 sons, 2 doctors. Ah, Michael, you must be doing something right. Congratulations to you and your family. That's so exciting. Let's see here. I think Grace is the line. World of Devon, Grace is Lion King 2 this year. I don't think they've even started to film it yet, so I don't think so. All right, I think I caught up and got everybody. Yeah, let me do a couple of more non-super chat. Stephen, you did read the whole article? Well, then I just strongly disagree with your comments. You know, respectfully, but I strongly disagree. Let's see here. Recognize Justy says, thoughts on the repercussions of streaming services removing their own content. Well, that's why you got to have a union. Let's see if the unions can renegotiate better contracts. Shamar says, any news on Hercules or Wicked? No, isn't Wicked filming? I'm nervous about Wicked. I haven't heard anything recently about Hercules. Hey, Dane, I'm glad you made it. Ross says, when is Only Murders in the Building back? I'm sure sometime this year. They're deep in filming, if not wrapped. I'm very excited for that. It's going to be great. What a bunch of huge stars on this season. Jico says, Grace, do I have to watch the Meryl Streep Julia movie before watching the show? No, actually, I would advise against it. Just watch the Julia show. It's really great on its own. Brett Crandall said, is Emerald Fennell still working with DC on anything? No, I believe that's been scrapped because James Gunn didn't mention it. So I believe they scrapped that. That's too bad. Emerald Fennell is so talented and she's just got suddenly nowhere. Hollywood's a tough business. Hollywood is a really tough business. David, I haven't heard anything about Kit Connor and Marvel. Writer Boy says, do you think that Grant Gustin will replace Ezra as the Flash? I do not think. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea. I know that some of you really love Grant Gustin, but I think he just is too CW-y to go to movies. I'm sorry. And then Gramo says, do you think most actors now strive to be in Marvel or DC films? And is it for the money or to be noticed? I think it's because some of them genuinely love the franchises, for sure. Like Robert Pattinson is a huge Batman fan, which is why I think partially his performance is so good. But I also think that a lot of them do it because it really boosts people's interest in their work. So it makes them more castable in other projects. You know, like look how much work Jenna Ortega is getting off of Wednesday. Because suddenly if Jenna Ortega's in something, a whole bunch of people pay attention because she has so many fans now. So I think that's, like, look how much Ian McKellen was able to do off of being Magneto. So I think that's the situation. And World of Devon says, Grace, I was rewatching Selena Gomez in Wizards of Waverly Place and she wants to reboot it for Disney+. That would be great. You know, Selena Gomez, talk about Hollywood being a tough town. She's one of the stars of a huge show, and she's not getting very much work. But good for her. Good for her. She's just not letting that stop her. Okay, it's 5:44. I went way over on the Q&A. Let's do shout-outs. No more questions, please. Let's do shout-outs. What are you up to? What are you doing so I can say hi? I just want to say hi to some of you. Shout out time, baby. Thomas says, my cats are upset. They want me to feed them. Oh, but you don't want, you got to tell them it's for their own good. Hey, Skype, that's so kind of you. Hollywood wants our time and money. Give us stories worth both. I couldn't agree more, Skype. And there's more demand on your time, so that raises the bar. You were able to make more choices, so that puts the power in your hands. And that's very generous of you. Thank you. Al Watch says, rewatched your Young Justice 3 review and all the problems that season are fixed on 4. I'll try and go back. Nacho Flory says, I'm eating lunch in Mexico City. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Moro says, I'm going to an event in 20 minutes. Oh, have fun. Have fun. Ross says, I'm just going to bed after a busy day. Oh, that's the best. Amparo says, update, made my fiance watch The Women and he loved it. Oh, that's wonderful. You mean like the original The Women, you know, like that old movie? That was a great movie with, like, I think, wasn't Joan Crawford in that? That's awesome. Zeke the Wise says, Grace, getting off work to watch Mando. Excellent. Carlos Munoz is eating chicken Alfredo. Elliot Bullock is about to watch Witness with Harrison Ford for the first time for my screenplay analysis class. Oh, what fun. What fun. I love that kind of stuff. Dane says, just getting off work and cleaning up. The boyfriend is taking me out for an impromptu date night. Oh, what a sweet boyfriend. He surprised you. I love it. Keith says, I had a great day with a double feature in the morning, Mando and Bad Batch. I know you're a big Star Wars fan, Keith, so you were eating good this morning. Matt Damage says, going to an open mic comedy tonight. Got 2 jokes ready. Oh, you're going to perform? Oh, that's wonderful. Good for you. Good for you. I mean, half the battle is just getting up there. David Quevedo says, speaking of heaters, earlier South Texas is at 95 degrees. Summer weather and it's not even spring yet. Oh, that's crazy. You guys had a really rough time last year with your weather. I hope it's not bad again. And my pleasure. I'm so glad you enjoy my videos, David. That means a lot. Cinephile says, helping my sister and shift to a new apartment as she is starting a new job in another city. I'm excited for her, but that also means I won't be able to catch Oscars live as I'll be in a flight. Oh, that's okay, Cinephile. That's okay. You're doing something nice for your sister. That's really kind of you. I'm glad you guys are so close. That's really sweet. Ethan Maddox says, getting ready to leave work, going to go home and watch Mando. Lots of love from Colorado. Been subscribed for as long as I can remember. That means a lot, Ethan. Thank you so much. And enjoy Mando. It's a fun episode. Tammy says, hanging in Ocean City. Have my ticket for Creed 3 tomorrow night. You're going to have a great time. CJ says, on the way to the gym, I took a year off, Grace, and now I'm back. Good for you. That's awesome. That's so good. Let's see here. Sean says, just booked my Scream 6 tickets here in London. I think it's going to do very well. I'm sure you will. Des Nizra says, in my bed, it's 5:47 a.m. in Jakarta. Thanks for staying up with us. That's awesome. Or getting up early with us. Can't wait for Scream 6. Oh, Jakarta. What a cool city. I love talking to you guys across the globe. It's so nice. Matt says, coming at you as always with a cup of coffee from work in Michigan. That's great, Matt. Michael says, I'm going to go play Frisbee with the doggo in Chicago. 60 degrees on March 1st. Yeah, it's crazy. It's going to be really great here in New York tomorrow. Let's see how the Golden Girl, let's see here. Hosea says, absolutely love you, Grace. I love you too, Hosea. Let's see what the poll was for the favorite Golden Girl. Oh, it was close. It was close. A lot of love for all the ladies, but Dorothy pulled out a squeaker with 29%, with Blanche coming in second at 28%. But I gotta say, I think that's fascinating. That was pretty evenly divided. That just goes to show they did a good job of crafting their characters, talk about studying screenwriting, and that they were able to kind of represent everybody with that cast. Oh, isn't that nice? Frosty Salt says, double feature night with the 2 Puss in Boots movies. Oh, you're gonna have a great time. And then, thank you, Jay Got Milk. That's very kind of you to say. Oh, it's BM says, resting in bed after contracting COVID. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, BM. Feel better indeed. Okay, everybody, I better get going. There's 3 streams a week, so it'll either be tomorrow or it'll be Friday. And I'll be reacting to the Haunted Mansion trailer, which I believe, I think it's going to drop at noon, like when the poster did today. All right, everybody. Have a great evening, and if you haven't watched Mando yet, be sure to watch my breakdown after you do. I hope you'll join me to break it down. All right, bye, everybody.